Okay, could you confirm if this is Captain AR? Over.
This is the Captain in Charge, Captain AR. Stay tuned for vibes.
Alright, Captain, roger that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. This is your captain speaking. I am Captain AR and I will be your pilot in command for tonight's flight. In tonight's flight, we're going to talk about a phenomenon called ground effect. And for tonight's flight, we're going to use the Korean Air Airbus A380 for demonstration purposes. So we're going to talk about what is ground effect and how can it affect your takeoff and landing. So first things first, what is ground effect? Ground effect is the change of the wind patterns or the flow of the wind under the wings due to the ground or water. So we do know that at the tips of the wings, wind collides with each other and it creates what is called wingtip vortices. And we also know that wind passes over the wings this way, and this is called the downwash, right? So what happens during ground effect is that the ground or the water interferes with the creation of these wing tips. So instead of it flowing out that way, it's just gonna keep, bouncing off of the ground like that, and it actually affects the plane when it comes closer to the ground. And ground effect is most experienced when the aircraft is at a height that is equal to or less than half of the wingspan of the aircraft. Right, that is the height between the aircraft and the surface, whether it's water or ground, is equal to or less than half of the wingspan of the aircraft. So how does it affect the plane when the plane is taking off? We're going to do taking off first and then we'll do landing after. So during the takeoff roll, we build our airspeed. If we don't get that airspeed up to the required airspeed to take off this aircraft, what's going to happen is that the aircraft is just going to float like this, and it's not going to want to go higher, right? What also happens is that induced drag is reduced, right? So, and also the critical angle of attack is also reduced as well. So you reach the critical angle faster during ground effect, all right? And what can happen if you're not fast enough when you're taking off, and what we call rotating, meaning you pitch up. If you pitch up too much, you can stall the aircraft, and of course that is not good. So then it is important that we reach the ideal climb out speed before we attempt to take this aircraft off of the runway, all right, meaning off the ground. Now what happens during landing? Now you would see sometimes the aircraft would come into land, and as it's coming into land, it's flaring, but you just see that the aircraft is just floating along, right? Sometimes you might be in a plane and you feel like it's taking, you're seeing the runway, but it's taking a very long time for the aircraft to actually touch ground, and that is because of ground effect. It feels as though that the aircraft wants to float, and it keeps floating down. That's how ground effect can affect you when you're landing. And again, because induced drag is reduced and also the critical angle of attack is less during landing as well. If you flare too much, meaning you pitch your nose up too much, because you always want to flare to ensure that the back wheels touch first. If you flare too much, you can also end up stalling the plane at a low speed. And again, that's not good. It's never good to stall a plane, and especially when you're about, let's say, about 50 feet above the ground. All right, so that's the effects of ground effect on an aircraft. That is what ground effect is. And I also want to encourage persons as well, if you have any questions about aviation, about planes, about anything you want to find out, anything that you always had doubts about, feel free to ask me anything you wish to ask me. You can comment or you can message me, and I will do my best to answer all your questions correctly. All right. So the next video I might do may be on radio communications, how we talk to ATC, something like that. So look out for it, and of course subscribe, like, share. If you want more aviation content, I would also be doing videos, where I see planes flying over my place as well. I've been posting videos like that as well. So look out for more content. Again, this has been your captain speaking, and it was a pleasure taking you on this flight. Until the next one, stay safe.